Hey everyone, it's Keith. The movies are back, and so am I. Hallelujah. Christopher Nolan, one of my favorite filmmakers and noted very stubborn man, returns with Tenet, a movie that, I'll be honest, is a lot, and it's kind of a mess. So let's get into it. Tenet stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh. Washington plays a government agent that gets pulled into a plot involving time running backwards, and I can't really say much more than that without going into spoilers. If you do end up seeing this movie, you'll be glad to avoid them as much as possible. Few filmmakers nowadays get to punch at Nolan's weight. And make no mistake, Tenet is very ambitious, even for one of his movies. All of his work, dating back to Inception, or maybe even The Dark Knight, have felt massive in scale, on the level that, again, no other artist really reaches, specifically from a budget and a sheer control aspect. Nolan is famous for not cutting corners. He not only refuses to shoot his films digitally, which is usually cheaper than using film, instead moving in the exact opposite direction and shooting higher and higher percentages of his movies using IMAX cameras, which only inflate the budget. He hates using computer-generated images, preferring to shoot as much in-camera as possible.
You get to set and it's like, yeah, we've got a 747, we're crashing into a building. That's how we're achieving the 747 crashing into a building.
We spared no expense.
The result of this kind of stubbornness is on screen to behold, and Tenet is a great use of this kind of filmmaking. The stunt work in particular is very impressive. The action scenes on display here are exhilarating, and as always, cinematographer Hoyte van Hoytema delivers beautiful image after beautiful image. Also, quick shout out to newcomer to Nolan's stable of collaborators, composer Ludwig Göransson, whose score is my favorite in a long time. I've had it on repeat ever since leaving the theater. While the ambition behind Tenet can, on one hand, be commended, especially in the age of movies' reach exceeding their grasp because, hey, we can shoot everything on a green screen and it'll be cheap. Who cares if it ends up looking like absolute ass? I'm looking at you, Bill and Ted Face the Music. That is also where its problems originate from, I think. If Nolan has enough sway to make whatever project he wants, and to make it as big as he wants, that means he's not getting much in the way of creative pushback. Specifically, I don't think anyone is making Nolan do his due diligence anymore as a writer. This is an issue dating back to The Dark Knight Rises, and it's only gotten worse with time, the exception being Dunkirk, which was simple enough to not be weighed down by Nolan's style of filmmaking. Nolan has a very creative mind, but if it no longer has limitations, then that's an issue. The heart of Tenet's screenplay problems lie at, well, it's hard. There's little for the audience to latch onto emotionally. Washington's character may want to save the world, a noble if cliché endeavor to be sure, but there's nothing else going on inside him. No larger, deeper desire driving his actions. Nolan has often been criticized for being a cold, uncaring filmmaker, a criticism I've always defended him on. As an example, for as heavy-handed or even ham-fisted as Cooper's relationship with Murph is in Interstellar, it connected with me. I cared about the two of them and their respective struggles because of that relationship. More importantly, it was something. Nolan's last two films, Dunkirk and now Tenet, have had little to sink my teeth into. They're depending on the nonstop action to keep the audience engaged. And in Dunkirk that works, because there's always something happening on one of the film's three planes of action. Tenet, which is exciting at times, has more lulls, and thanks to its time inversion mechanic, tons more exposition to drop into the audience's lap. I wanted to like Tenet. Nolan's movies are always near the top of my most anticipated list, and my lukewarm reaction to this doesn't diminish that going forward. But this is easily my least favorite of his films. Ultimately, the puzzle that is Tenet makes sense when you start to put it together, even if it takes a bit of time after leaving the theater to solve it. But it's hardly worth the effort. I hope you found today's review interesting. Let me know what you thought of Tenet in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, also, you might have noticed this. I broke my hand last week. Don't tell my mom.